So we have a wonderful evening planned, and the inspiration of the flow really came from that universal journey of the disciple seeking God. And Swamiji exemplifies this so beautifully in every aspect of his life. And so I invite all of us here this evening to approach this evening as a dynamic inward prayer, that we tap into that inspiration that led us to the path. We tap into and absorb ourselves in that ever-growing inspiration that helps us to go deeper in our path. And then, of course, finally, to feel that hope, that aspiration, that longing to be free. And we can see in music, we can feel and see in the inspiration this journey which we're all on that leads to moksha. So many blessings and Jai Guru. May we all feel Swamiji's and Master's living presence with us this evening.
Ever Today we are exploring the journey the Swami Kriyananda did, and somehow was the beginning of all of us being here today. In this first part, we are going to share about the journey of the soul. And I would like to cover a few aspects of Swami's life, but very much this could represent our own inner journey as disciples and as truth seekers. So Swami Kriyananda shares in his autobiography, The New Path, how very early in age he will dream of different worlds. He will play with prisms, with crystals, and he will imagine living in worlds of rainbow-colored lights. And how many of us, at some point in life, we will think about living out of here? Like, how many of us, I wonder, what am I doing here? And one of the favorites is, it's a mistake. There must be a mistake. This is not my place. So, for some, this question comes very early, but nevertheless, at some point, we face this situation. What are we doing here? What am I doing here? So we do our best, and we start living life, and we start discovering things of the world, like being in places that soon or later will be, we won't enjoy being there. We will spend time with people that at some level, they won't fulfill what is in our heart. Even people that we may trust may betray us. Swami shared a fair amount of stories in his autobiography, but we can apply that also in our own lives. So there is not many alternatives. We just learn how to live with it, how to live in the world. And as Swami says it, we learn how to be a pilgrim without a map. So we do our best, and we go into the world. And this is a new stage, maybe now a little bit more mature, a little bit older, with a lot of good things in our heart. We are yearning for high aspirations. We want love, we want joy and happiness. We want to fulfill our lives, but we don't know how or where to find it. So we try, and we try our best. Swami also relates how hard try to learn the norms and how to have a maybe specific outlook and how to fit in the world. And I don't know about you, but I've been there, done that, but it doesn't matter how hard we tried, because all these things, as much as they stay in the superficial layer, and the world is all about that superficial layer, we won't feel that fulfillment in our hearts. So again and again, we hit that wall, learning, hopefully, that we need to search, we need to look for what we are looking for somewhere else. So when life becomes boring enough, that anguishing monotony is there, or maybe even the pain by suffering, the call goes out, our heart is really, really yearning for that light, for that love. And suddenly we surrender. And by that surrendering, Divine Mother comes to us and she says, now you are ready. Now I can come and pick you up. So that last part, once we are ready, we open our heart and really we surrender. It starts an act of bravery, not only to search, but actually to embrace a new reality. And this is the part represented by Swami Kriyananda crossing the whole country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, to meet his soon-to-be Guru, Yogananda. And in that act of surrender, asking him to be his disciple and Yogananda accepting him, it set the momentum, not only for his life, but for all of us to be here and sharing this life in God. So that day was somehow magical for all of us. Once I was in a situation that I needed to make a decision, and it was a little bit of life-threatening, especially seen from the point of view of spiritual life. So I needed to decide to continue with my career or to embrace the spiritual path. So I was with Swami and I asked him, this is the situation. And he stopped for a moment and looked at me and said, if you want success in the world, you are going to need your career. But if you are looking for happiness, you won't need it. And what a beautiful answer. He won't say what to do. It was all up to me. But then my question was, am I ready? And for all of us as truth seekers, there is the moment that we need to ask truly, am I ready to embrace this path, to really let behind what it doesn't serve me anymore, and to embrace this life in God, in the divine, in divine friendship fully. So when the journey of the heart becomes strong enough, all doors open. Divine Mother is ready for us to let go so she can come. And when this journey is strong enough, we will find that all obstacles will disappear. So when we make, Lord, I long to see thee, the mantra of our life, there is not other answer, but God will be right there to hold us and pick us up.
Even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. La 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 la. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. I am
Well, good evening, friends, and welcome. And thank you, Shama, for that beautiful talk and inspiration. And I'm grateful you mentioned divine friendship, because now we enter the second phase of the night, which is discipleship. And although there are many threads that one can pick up discipleship from, the thread for tonight we'll focus on is divine friendship. So, Master had a twofold mission, and has a twofold mission. And it's still going on to this day. The first mission is qualitative, lifting disciples up to Christ consciousness, up to self-realization. And we're all here for that, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And Master's second aspect of his mission is quantitative, trying to lift up all of society, lift up the entire human race up to a higher level of consciousness, up to the heights of who they can become for who they are. And we have a part to play in that role. And Swami Kriyananda, he was the ideal disciple to forward these two aspects of Master's mission. That's what his life was for. He had two desires in life. His first desire was to find God. His second desire was to share him with all. And it's that second desire, the sharing him with all, that I want to focus on here with you all tonight. When we come together to celebrate Swami Kriyananda, we don't come to celebrate Kriya Yoga necessarily or explicitly. We come together to celebrate community, to celebrate people, to celebrate at the heart of all of that friendship. That's why we're here. Everything else is just part of the drama. And if the greatest honor that we could pay Swami Kriyananda is to become like him, and to become, in our attunement with Master, whom he said had an amazing quality of giving universal friendship to everyone, to be the friend of all. To really honor Swami is to really take up that mantle and be the friend of all. And it's important to understand that in an outward way, we cannot be outwardly friends with everyone. That would be exhausting. That's not realistic. And Swami has said it in different ways in himself. But we can be, in our consciousness, the friend to everyone and anyone we meet. We can share that vibration even with a smile, even with a glance. When we talk about Swami, we talk about... Hold on, let me catch that thought. Well, I'll share a story in light of this. So, Swami, when he was younger, I don't know how old he was. He doesn't, in the times I've heard him share this story, he hasn't mentioned how old he was. I think it was after his years with Master, and I think it was in his early adulthood. He was in Paris, and he was attending a concert, and he wanted to attend a concert. But when he got to the concert hall, which was a church, it was maxed out full. The hall was totally full, and he couldn't get in. And there was a crowd of people wanting to get in to the concert. But Swami, it was his birthday, and so he said, "But sir, it's my birthday," to the guy who was guarding the doors. And he said this in French, because he can speak French. And the guard let him in. He said, "Oh, okay, come on. So he let in this guy, he let in Swami, and he let in other people. But because the hall was so full, he had Swami and the other folks, the few that he let in, sitting behind the musicians near the altar. And so Swami was facing the audience. And he was deeply enjoying the music. He was listening, deeply enthralled by the music, just silently reverberating with it in himself. And what he said was so interesting was that after the concert, on the subway ride back to his hotel, an elderly woman came up to him and said, "Do you remember me?" And she smiled, and he said, "No, I'm sorry, I don't know you." And she looked a little sad and said, "But I was in the audience." And Swami thought to himself, how could she think I would have recognized her? There were 700 people in this church. And not only that, he mentioned he was hopelessly myopic. He was hopelessly nearsighted. But she felt his vibration of joy. And that's how he explained it, that in his deep joy in the music and what he felt, he, without trying, conveyed the spirit of friendship and connection. She felt a bond of friendship. And so in that spirit of friendship, she shared with him some of the problems that she was experiencing in her life. She was sharing how her daughter was giving her a hard time. She's just shared and asked for his advice. And Swami said it was because of his vibration that she felt in his friendship, in his spirit, a connection that she could just open her heart to a complete stranger. And we need to do that. We need to not necessarily go out and try to make friends with everyone, but to radiate that consciousness of friendship with everyone we meet, with all the people we interact with, and with when you go into town, you share that vibration of joy. Even if you're standing in line and you're waiting, you don't have to say anything. You can just radiate it out, kindness to people. Naya Swami Jaya mentioned a couple weeks back at Sunday service about the social way to God, the social way to cosmic consciousness. And like himself, when I first read about this, I thought that's for people who can't meditate. That's really kind of... And he shared that, and then he shared, of course, as he matured on the path, he realized, no, actually, that's really important, an important aspect. And I would go so far as to say, for us on this path of self-realization, it's central, because we're trying to find God, and we're trying to share him with all. And that is the social way to God. And it's not, again, an outward, how many friends do you have on Facebook? It's not a quantitative thing. It's just the depth of what you can give to others in your soul, in your friendship. There's one more story I'd like to share that is in Swami Kriyananda as we've known him, by Ashanai Swami. And she doesn't mention in the story where they are, or what year it is, or what's happening. She just starts with saying that they were in a hotel, and across the street from this hotel was a small jewelry store. I like to think this was like the Joy Tours of the 1980s, and they're out on tour sharing, but that's just... Anyway, so he noticed from across the hotel, there was a tiny jewelry store, and there was a woman in there day in and day out, and there were very few patrons. There were very few customers coming through. And he said to Asha, she must be lonely. And so he one day took it upon himself to go over to the store with Asha, and she goes up to the woman and says, "What do you do all day? It must be lonely." And she was totally shocked to have someone come in and say something so personally to her. And she said, "Well, I read." And then she kind of paused for a moment, and her eyes filled with tears. And she said, "It is lonely." And Asha wrote that he didn't say anything in response, but he just radiated this joy, and she could feel it coming off of him. And the woman looked up, and in her eyes just shone with joy. And then he didn't say anything, and he left. And then from that point off, any time thereafter, he would pass the store, he would wave through the window to this woman. And there were times, Asha wrote, that she would come out and just to see Swami. Because, as Asha wrote, it seemed to, just this very sight of Swami seemed to ease her loneliness. And that wasn't an unusual case. Swami, anytime he went to a little shop or a villa in Switzerland or Italy, or he went to a restaurant, he would make friends with the owner or the storekeeper. He'd make best of friends. One time he would visit, and then from there on after, they would forever say, this is my friend. Some would go, sorry, this is my best friend. So when we think of Swami and we tune into Swami and his discipleship, we should think of those twofold desires. We should give our heart and everything we have every day inwardly in meditation to self-realization as best you can. We all do our best. Sometimes it's not so pretty, sometimes it's not so great. You just pick your head up and you keep trying. But we should also remember that essential aspect of Swami's life, because like Shama was saying, we're all here because of him, because he took it upon himself to share what he had received with everyone he met. And that for us is vitally important, because what we give, we are blessed by. And so the best way we can honor Swami Kriyananda is to be like him and to become the friend of all. Thank you. Joy to you.
Where
I want to talk about the celebration of discipleship that's tonight. And of course, we want to celebrate Kriyananda's discipleship. I want to celebrate yours. Because it's a great thing to have a guru. And Kriyananda came to Master, what did he say? The first thing, I want to be your disciple. And he did. He explained to the world and all of us what discipleship is. Master gave truth as one and eternal, but Kriyananda, I would say more than or as much as any disciple of any master at any time, enunciated clearly and practically how do we become in tune to the Guru, how do we realize the self. And it's a wonderful thing to have Ananda. It's a wonderful thing to have 140 books about Master's teachings that Swami wrote. It's a wonderful thing to have beautiful singers singing beautiful music, 400 pieces of music. It's absolutely wonderful. But if there's no one there to hear it, if there's no one there to practice the teachings, if no one comes to Ananda village and lives a life dedicated to self-realization, it's missing something. It's missing you. It's missing the disciples. It's really great to have the great teachings, but if we don't share the teachings with others, as we've been saying, it takes someone to live the teachings. And you're all doing that. That's wonderful. I'm very proud of you. Good work. Because these teachings are offered freely to everyone. And that's what Sambhava and Shama have been saying, is that Swami came, he wanted to share the teachings with all. I was all for that. But, of course, I didn't know the teachings, and I didn't know how to share them effectively. And so we came, and we stuck with Swami, and we watched him, and we watched his love for the world flow out to everyone in every situation. And in the years that he was a disciple, 1948 until he left the planet, that's all he did. He just looked for ways to share Master's love, to make it real, to make it beautiful, to do what he could do. But every one of the great disciples does that. Sister Gyanamata was the wife of a university professor. She couldn't go see Swami Yogananda when he came to Seattle because it wouldn't be proper for the wife of a university professor to go to a Hindu savant's talk. Isn't that bizarre? But don't we find ourselves in those positions? We can't do this because, and so she just played along with society. I love the quote from Master. I've searched Sister's life and have not found a single sin, not even of thought. But she couldn't go see her guru until the time was right. And she never gave Sunday service. She didn't write any books. She didn't go on the internet and teach at ananda.org. But she was completely liberated. And Rajasi, the other disciple, Master kept him in these positions as the head, the CEO of all these companies and boards and all these things. Why? Because in that way, the disciple, Rajasi, was able to serve the Guru and show the reality of self-realization is the basis of our lives, and he was fulfilling his karma. Master did not ask Sister to be on the board. He did not ask Rajasi to be the head of the monks. Each of you, each of us, has a specific mission for self-realization as disciples. And that's what we have to embrace. That's what Swami embraced. That's what we're celebrating tonight. Thank you, each of the choirs, for singing. I didn't sing with you. It's not my dharma. My dharma is to talk for 3 more minutes. You'll be done with me. Then we'll chant. We'll chant Om Guru. And tomorrow morning you go to the market, or you go to property services, or you take care of Vasanta, or whatever you have to do. But you're a disciple of the greatest master, the one master. And if, by the way, if you're here and you're not a disciple of master, this all applies to you. You're a disciple of the Buddha, you're a disciple of Christ, you're a disciple of whatever. You're a disciple. You're becoming the guru. That's the point. And you do it by doing your own dharma. It's not a silly little dharma. It's the most sacred thing. Kriyananda did what he did because Master asked him to. And we all joined up to support it because it was our dharma. It was Jyotish and Devi and Jaya and Sadhana and Pranava and Parvati and all the rest of us. We did it because it's ours to do. But for other people, if you do your dharma, if you tune into the guru, you become like the guru. And that's the end of Kriyananda's life. It's the moksha. It's the evening in California that he left. And for those of you who didn't know at the time, it was 10 years ago now, but Kriyananda, from the beginning of his time with Master and all through the history of Ananda, always he told us, we're here to realize the self. We're not here for anything else. We have to do our dharma. We have to start this community. We have to build this temple of light. We have to make the meditation retreat magnetic. We have to welcome everyone to the expanding light. We have to have Master's Market and Crystal Clarity Publishers and the internet and Ananda.org. And yes, we do. But only as much as that attunement with the Guru brings us moksha, liberation. So do your kriyas and do what you can do and have to do. And it changes. We don't all have the same job. I do, but not everyone else. But the point is that embrace the Guru. And Kriyananda's, the entire body of his work was to outline the path to self-realization. Every book he wrote, every song he sung, every restaurant he ate in, every jeweler he talked to, every person he saw, it was to share the Guru's light. And that's why we're here celebrating that, is because you all are doing that. You're here as disciples this evening. We're going to make an offering to the Guru. And that evening in California that Kriyananda died, left the body, it was wonderful because Kriyananda's body at the end was a wreck. It was more and more difficult for him to move, for him to serve. And it was just like, oh man. But behind that was joy, freedom, light, beauty, kindness, supreme, perfected. His entire life had reached that point of perfection. And then he dropped the body. And I talked to Nayaswami Dhyana about this. But we were here. She was in India. Kirtani was in Italy. But all of us felt Kriyananda dropped the body and he soared in light. And it was immediately aware that Kriyananda was everywhere. It was beautiful. It was so, so liberating, inspiring. A tiny bubble of laughter, I am become the sea of mirth itself. Say it over and over again, a tiny bubble of laughter, I am become the sea of mirth itself. That is the chant of the disciple. You are all disciples, and you are headed to that freedom. All you do, open your heart to the Guru, and I will take charge of your life. We say it every Sunday, say it every day. Think of the Guru, serve the Guru, love the Guru, do your kriyas because he said do your kriyas. If you're a Buddhist, do your Buddhist practices. If you're a Christian, do your Christian practices. Do the practices the Guru gave you and you will be free. That is the joy of Kriyananda's anniversary of discipleship. And that's the joy for all of us to celebrate. So let's have a discipleship offering. And then let's chant Om Guru. Let's chant, think about God, love God, serve God, and we'll be like Kriyananda. We won't write all the books. We won't write all the music. We won't be that smart. Okay. It's not important. What's important is that whether you're like Sister or Rajasi or Swami, that you become one with the Guru. You become a clear channel for the Guru. And all of you are doing that. And I see it, and Swami sees it every single day. Thank you. Good work. Let's have a discipleship offering. Let's bring flowers of the devotion and put as much devotion as you can into that flower every day and every night. And then you can have the prasad. When you take the prasad, you take the Guru's energy. You build the body of your discipleship with that. Okay. Om.